Charleston White just dropped a bomb on Sexyy Red, and this time, he didn't stop at her. He started naming some of the biggest rappers in the game, even hinting that Drake himself might be caught up in the scandal. The internet went crazy, but the real question is Charleston just trolling, or is there actual truth behind these claims? Let's break it all down. When Charleston White talks, the industry listens, but this time, he aimed straight at Sexyy Red, calling her out, dropping what he claimed were medical records, and dragging superstar rappers into the mix. Fans say it could ruin careers. So what's really going on here? Sexyy Red thought she was just dealing with rumors. But when Charleston White called her contaminated and connected her name to some of the biggest stars in hip-hop, everything spiraled out of control. From Drake to Chief Keef, could this actually be bigger than anyone expected? Charleston White has a way of saying things that instantly grab attention. And this time he aimed straight at Sexyy Red. He compared her to the kind of girl you walk past and immediately think something smells off. To back it up, he dropped what he claimed were her private medical records and even started naming big rappers he said had been exposed through her. Charleston White's accusations did not land lightly, because he was not pointing fingers at unknown artists or small-town rappers. The people he mentioned were some of the biggest names in the hip-hop world. The kind of names that instantly make headlines and force people to stop scrolling through their time. This is why his words carried so much weight. It was not just the shock of the accusation itself. It was the boldness of calling out major stars and connecting them to Sexyy Red in a way that many fans never expected. But Charleston's attack was not limited to saying Sexyy Red was being reckless in her lifestyle choices. He went further and used the word contaminated, a term heavy with insult, suggesting that she was somehow ruined or damaged by the life she rapped about so proudly. In his mind, her lyrics and persona were not just entertainment. They were proof of who she really was. By framing her in this way, Charleston created a scandal that spread far beyond one simple statement. He painted an image that made people question her character, her relationships, and even her personal hygiene. What added fuel to the fire was a resurfaced clip that fans quickly dug up. In that old video, Sexyy Red herself made a joke about her body not smelling pleasant. While the comment was likely meant as humor at the time, once Charleston's accusations went viral, the internet twisted it into something more serious. Suddenly, people were connecting the dots, pulling screenshots and sharing memes that suggested Charleston might have been speaking the truth. What was once a harmless joke now became evidence in the court of public opinion. Social media, of course, took this controversy and ran with it. Fans began revisiting every picture, every interview, and every club sighting involving Sexyy Red. Old blurry photos of her with different rappers resurfaced online, and people started speculating about who she had been romantically linked to. Some fans turned into detectives, zooming in on old images to identify the men she had been seen with. Others connected the situation to her baby daddy drama, weaving a messy timeline of her personal life. In the space of just a few days, Sexyy Red's entire past was laid bare, dissected by strangers who felt entitled to judge her. The conversation also raised bigger questions about the relationship between image and reality in hip-hop. Sexyy Red had built her brand on being raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically herself. Her music was full of references to sexuality, partying, and street life. For her fans, this was part of her charm. She said what others were too shy to admit, and she owned her identity without shame. But Charleston White's attack blurred the line between the personas she performed on stage and the real person behind it. Was Sexyy Red truly living the life she rapped about, or was she a victim of people taking her lyrics too literally? The controversy also highlighted the way women in hip-hop are judged differently than men. Male rappers often boast about reckless lifestyles, drug use, or sexual escapades, without being labeled contaminated. For Sexyy Red, however, Charleston's words carried a stain that many felt was unfair. His choice of language reflected a deeper double standard. Society often punishes women for behavior that men are praised or at least excused for. This sparked debates online, with some fans defending Sexyy Red and pointing out the sexism in the way the narrative was being pushed. Others, however, joined Charleston's side, spreading memes and harsh comments that mocked her appearance and personal life. Through all of this, one thing became clear. The internet thrives on drama, and Sexyy Red had unwillingly become the centerpiece of a storm. Every new post, every shared clip, and every comment added fuel to the fire. Bloggers and YouTubers picked up the story, turning it into long discussions about morality, hygiene, and the dangers of fame. Some even tried to spin the controversy into lessons for young people, saying Sexyy Red's situation was proof that living a wild lifestyle would eventually catch up with you. Others dismissed Charleston White entirely, claiming he was only seeking attention by tearing down a rising female rapper. In the end, the controversy was not just about Charleston's accusations or Sexyy Red's past jokes. It revealed how quickly public opinion can shift when a narrative catches fire online. One video, one comment, or one resurfaced clip is all it takes to rewrite the way people see an artist. Sexyy Red's career had been built on authenticity, but now that very authenticity was being used against her. For fans, the situation became a kind of spectacle, a mixture of entertainment, gossip, and judgment. For Sexyy Red, it was a reminder of the high cost of fame. Every word she had ever said, every joke she had ever made, could be pulled back into the spotlight and reinterpreted in the harshest way possible. And for Charleston White, it was another example of his ability to stir chaos simply by speaking boldly, regardless of the fallout it caused. What remains uncertain is how Sexyy Red will respond. Will she address the accusations directly, defend her image, and push back against the narrative? Or will she ignore the noise and let her music speak louder than the gossip? Either way, the controversy has shown how fragile reputations can be in an era where every rumor spreads like wildfire. In today's digital world, perception often becomes reality. And once the internet makes up its mind, it is nearly impossible to change it. The names that Charleston put out there had people completely shocked. These were not minor industry rumors. Was aiming at some of the biggest stars in hip-hop. What really grabbed attention was when he hinted that Drake might not even be the only superstar caught up in the situation. That one line was enough to set the internet on fire. Then, instead of backing off, Charleston went further. He posted a zoomed-in photo of Sexyy Red, showing what looked like a mark near her mouth, and added offensive captions that suggested she was living with an STD. But Charleston was not stopping there. He kept feeding the drama, uploading more graphics and memes to paint her in a negative light. His posts mocked her hygiene and lifestyle, while his captions claimed that the way she lives, the partying, the men, the chaos would naturally lead to infections and health problems. The insults were loud, but his approach was strategic. He was not just clowning around for quick laughs. He wanted people to believe there was truth behind his accusations. Charleston pushed the idea that Sexyy Red's personal choices carried real risks. He claimed this was the reason he decided to post what he called her STD report. Whether that report was real or fake did not even matter once it hit the internet. The damage was done. Social media instantly erupted with debates, jokes, and heated arguments. Within hours, fans were tearing apart every detail of Sexyy Red's past. They went back through old interviews, blurry club photos, and even messy drama involving her child's father. Each little piece was now being used to either support or reject Charleston's story. What made it worse was how quickly the gossip spread outside of her fan base. Major blog pages and gossip accounts picked it up, adding their own commentary, which only pushed the claims further. For Sexyy Red, it was not just about one man throwing shade. This was the entire internet digging into her life and reshaping her image based on Charleston's words. In the end, Charleston managed to create a storm that felt bigger than the facts themselves. His accusations blurred the line between truth and slander, leaving fans to decide what to believe. And once that kind of rumor takes off online, it becomes almost impossible to silence. That was the point when everything truly spiraled out of control. Sexyy Red had once been rumored to be involved with a man who went by the wild nickname Gucci Third Leg. The name alone had already earned him a reputation. But what really pushed him into the spotlight was a serious accusation. A woman who had been with him in the past came forward and claimed that Gucci knowingly spread a dangerous infection. Her words quickly became headlines, and the story picked up fire because Gucci himself had bragged in interviews about his lifestyle. He claimed to have slept with more than 3,000 women, proudly mentioning that many of them were adult stars. For fans, those numbers were almost unbelievable, but they also made the accusations sound much more possible. If even part of what he bragged about was true, then the risk factor was sky high. His reckless attitude toward women and intimacy turned him into a figure people both laughed at and feared. So, when Charleston decided to tie Sexyy Red's name to Gucci, it was like pouring gasoline on an open flame. The internet immediately erupted with theories. People began connecting dots, pulling up old photos, and digging into every piece of gossip they could find. Memes spread, TikTok creators made breakdown videos, and Twitter threads went on for hours. Some fans felt Charleston was reaching too far, but others argued that if Gucci really carried something serious, then Charleston's wild claims about Sexyy Red might not be so far-fetched. The situation left her caught in the middle of a storm, her name dragged through rumors, her image mocked, and her reputation tied to a man known for chaos. What started as internet gossip was now being treated like breaking news. Sexyy Red finally decided she could not stay silent any longer. She jumped on Instagram and let her frustrations out. In her post, she said she was tired of people talking about her private life and especially mocking her so-called brown booty hole. She made it clear that the non-stop gossip was getting out of hand. But even after speaking up, the noise did not slow down. Instead, the comments section turned even wilder. Some fans were convinced they knew the truth behind the rumors. One blunt message stood out, saying, "She got it from Gucci third leg." That single comment spread like fire, with thousands of people reposting it and adding their own theories. Charleston, who had already stirred the pot, decided to push things even further. He dropped more pictures online, claiming they were Sexyy Red's medical reports. Whether or not those papers were authentic, people began to argue that if they were true, the problem was bigger than just her. Many believed it meant the chain of exposure started with her and then spread to others around her. The next big name dragged into the mess was none other than Drake. Fans quickly connected old moments between Sexyy Red and Drake. There was the viral club video where Drake had his arm around her, whispering in her ear and even planting a kiss on her cheek. There was also that Instagram post where Drake called her his rifle wife, and she proudly reshared it. On top of that, they had been spotted together more than once, looking way closer than casual friends. So when Charleston linked Drake's name to the situation, it hit like a bombshell. Too many. The story suddenly seemed to connect too perfectly, and people could not stop talking. But Drake was not the only big name dragged in. Charleston then went after Chief Keef. This time, the rumors were fueled by Sexyy Red herself. She admitted she and Keef were closer than friends, even calling him my peoples and joking that he might be her third baby daddy. The situation turned even messier when she threw shots at King Von's sister, Kayla B, over Keef, making it clear there was something brewing between them. Put all that next to Charleston's accusations, and fans could not help but wonder if the picture he painted had some truth behind it. When you line all that up with Charleston White's claims, it's no surprise people started raising eyebrows. If those alleged medical papers were real and Sexyy Red really was that close with Chief Keef, fans began wondering, was he at risk too? Charleston wasn't just tossing names for clout. He was building a whole ripple effect, connecting one person to another like falling dominoes. Then the drama took another sharp turn. Sexyy Red posted a photo of herself in bed with a mystery man. She only showed their feet, but fans quickly noticed the ankle monitor, meaning the guy was on house arrest. She captioned it, "I like _ with drillers. Redhead killer." For Charleston, this was more fuel for his fire. He circled right back, waving those alleged medical papers again, making it seem like every new face around her was just another link in his chain of exposure. But the story didn't stop there. Out of nowhere, streamer Aiden Ross jumped in and added himself to the mess. On a live stream, he claimed, "I did have Sexyy Red. It was good, really good. She was kind of being the dominant one." He even admitted to watching her leaked tape and said that's what pushed him to hit her up. Fans were floored. Sexyy Red clapped back instantly, saying, "You paid me to take your virginity and I did just that." Then she doubled down with another post, joking, "Psyche, you couldn't test me with a stick." But by then, the damage was done. Once her name, Charleston's alleged report, and Ross's wild claims collided, fans started looking at every rumor with suspicion. Next came Ray J during a live stream. He casually claimed he and Sexyy Red hooked up on a plane mid-flight. She immediately shut it down, saying, "We slept on the plane together. I said hi. That's it. Is you crazy?" But once again, his name being tied to Charleston's list kept the gossip swirling. Then whispers started linking Sexyy Red to Huncho. It began with their music video, where he played her love interest. Fans brushed it off at first, until her Instagram captions started matching his lyrics a little too perfectly. That's when speculation grew that their connection wasn't just for the cameras. And when Charleston's STD claims were layered on top, people started asking the same question. If Huncho really was with her, was he caught up too? At this point, The gossip shifted from being funny to feeling like a serious pattern. Charleston's so-called receipts had people looking differently at every hookup, every collab, and every post. And just when it seemed like things couldn't spiral any further, Sexyy Red's own baby daddy stepped into the storm. He accused her of burning rappers and even flashed paperwork online that he claimed backed it up. Fans went wild, asking where all this paperwork was suddenly coming from. But then he backtracked, saying he never caught anything from her. After all, that's exactly why Charleston's alleged medical records hit harder than a bitter ex's rant. To prove he wasn't bluffing, he showed paperwork that suggested the virus was dormant, while reminding everyone that herpes doesn't just disappear. Then he really turned it up. Warning, y'all favorite rapper, she said it herself. She, burning everybody, getting burnt. You gotta be strong for that north side pull, 'cause it's not for the weak, and I'm the weak. By then, the story had gone beyond gossip. It became a tangled web where every rumor, every leaked detail, and every name Charleston dropped seemed to stick harder than the last. Remember how Sexyy Red's baby daddy first accused her of passing something around? Well, here's the twist: he later backtracked. He claimed he never actually caught anything from her and even showed proof to clear his name. Still, the fact he stepped forward at all made fans look twice at every rapper she's ever been linked to, even the casual hangouts. Once STDs entered the conversation, Charleston White's list stopped looking like pure trolling. Suddenly, it seemed possible. One hookup here, another there, the ripple effect could be huge. And here's the kicker: Sexyy Red herself has admitted to catching STDs before. She even joked about it, posting a viral pic of a fan outside the ER, holding dollar bills that spelled out "I want the STD." Her caption: "It's gone now. I'm a fee. Done took my meds." That's Sexyy Red's style-flipping controversy into comedy. Her own brand even leaned into it, dropping lip gloss with names like Gorhaya and Yellow Discharge. But when Charleston came forward with what he claimed was her medical report, nobody was laughing. People started saying STDs weren't just part of her music or her jokes, they were part of her real life. Sexyy Red has even confessed before. She caught chlamydia twice. She explained how she and her man broke up, slept around, then got back together, until they both noticed something smelled off. "We both was like, what the F is that smell?" she admitted. They went to the doctor but never figured out who passed it first. Line that history up with Charleston's alleged report, her baby daddy's claims, and her string of hookups, and suddenly fans felt like the dots connected too neatly to ignore. Even voices in hip-hop piled on. Lord Jamar clowned her, saying she looked like the kind of girl where you walk into the room and it smells like somebody's been smashing in there. Harsh, but when paired with Charleston's leaks, it made his story sound way more believable. That's the problem between Sexyy Red's own admissions, the endless rapper rumors, and outsiders like Yamar cracking jokes. The gossip stopped feeling random. It started to look like a full-on pattern. Then came the wildest twist of all. Some fans began accusing Sexyy Red of intentionally spreading infections. One comment went viral: "I mean, STDs are part of her brand. Who made that choice?" But not everyone blamed her. Some saw her as a product of today's toxic clout-chasing culture, where women get pushed into the spotlight for clicks, only to get torn apart later. Either way, the mess is loud, sticky, and taking over the timeline. And Charleston, he's not just cracking jokes anymore. He framed the whole thing as a statement. He argued that for years, black women have been dragged and reproduced to sex, mocked for beauty, and pushed into reckless images. To him, Sexyy Red is being used as a distraction, a symbol of chaos and sexual recklessness. So when Charleston flashed those papers and dropped those names, he wasn't just stirring drama, he staged it as proof of something bigger. Love him or hate him, it worked. Because now, the Sexyy Red conversation refuses to die. And next time, I'll break down exactly how the rappers Charleston called out actually responded.